These are going.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's see how many people we got on here. Ugo. I think he's gone.
Yeah, no,
All right. Oh, okay. We can just start, right?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Sure thing. So, hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Bamboo Sticks podcast. And today we are with Steve Dede. He's a senior editor at Pulse. Yeah. Let's let Steve give us a little bit of a background, how he started with Pulse, how his journey in the sports world has been up until today, right from when he was a young man, his first memories of sports, first teams he watched, how did you get into, I don't want to generalize,
sports.
Sports in general.
Yeah, sports has been with me since I was in primary school. I've always enjoyed watching football. I've been following football, I think intensely since I can say 1995, 96. I think the Olympics kind of like just before the Olympics, I started having interest in, I've known about football since 94, but I wasn't following actively. But from 95, I started, being aware of what the Premiership was, what the Champions League was. I started differentiating the types of tournaments, right? Then 96 kind of spurred the love for national team football because of the Olympics. Then 97 was when I really started following everything, weekend by weekend results, every weekend results. And it's been like that ever since. For the media, I've always had interest in the media, working in the media, from my love for newspapers, my love for words, things like that. So even while I wasn't actively thinking about going to the school to study like mass communication and other, it's been something that I love, talking on TV. Growing up in Delta State, I've always been loving Lagos because Lagos has been the center of the media in terms of pop culture, music, movies. So Lagos has always interested me. So I'm like, man, when I grow up, I would like to go to that city and just do stuff, right? And that was it. Went to school to study science. BSc.
You schooled in Lagos?
No. I schooled in Delta
State.
State. Yeah, Delta State. Did BSc. Had a degree, a BSc degree. I graduated in 2010. So immediately I graduated, I came to Lagos for my NYC, and I was posted to a lab, to work because science. I worked there like 3 months. During that 3 months, I was actively looking for like a media house to work with or to learn with. Then I saw one on the mainland. I walked up to them. I went there one day. I said I wanted to intern with them. Because I was a cop. I was wearing my NYC uniform. I said I wanted to learn with them. I said, okay, you can come over and, but we're not going to pay you. I was like, fine. So I was managing with my NYC allowance. And that's how I got to start. I started working with the media. Even before that, even in school, even in uni, I used to write, those things they write on the boards, those post updates they write on boards. Yeah, I used to actively do it.
Guy. Okay.
Exactly. I used to do it. I used to do it a lot. And when people, when I see people crowding the space and reading what I wrote, I would like, I'll be like
that's me.
very proud of myself. So I started working in media. I started with Entertainment Express. Entertainment Express is co-owned by people who own Complete Sports, right?
Okay.
So while working with Entertainment Express, I also had friends who were working with Complete Sports. So I had interest in sports reporting, but I was a music guy. I loved music. So I started with entertainment, and I worked there. I went to Nigerian Entertainment Today. Net at that time was one of the biggest websites in Nigeria. Nigerian Entertainment Today. So I worked there for like 2 years before I joined Pulse. I joined Pulse just writing basically anything, religion, human interests. Then before I had the opportunity to start reporting sports.
While you were doing that, when you were doing things other than sports, were you still doing things on the side with relation to sports? Were you having like your own personal blog? Did you have your own personal Facebook page?
No, I didn't have. Why? Because at that time, the love for sports my love for football really wasn't like anything connected to Nigeria. It was just like the Premier League, the Champions League. I watched a lot of European soccer, world soccer, European football, world football. It didn't have to do with anything Nigerian. So nothing like really interested me with covering media in terms of sports. I was just watching it to enjoy it. But see Nigerian music, I had a blog covering Nigerian music, I was heavily, I was heavily in music, So I'm still very interested in music. So it was at pause when I started reporting on sports, and then I started learning about like the Nigerian angle to sports, Nigerian footballers who play abroad, not necessarily in the top leagues, in Belgium, in Turkey, in
those really low key,
Luxembourg, those really low-key countries, and I really started getting interested. I contacted other sports reporters, became friends with them. I started covering Super Eagles games. I started traveling to, cover Super Eagles game. And that was how fully I became involved in sports media, and that's how it's been fun ever since. I won't lie, it's taking me places. I've enjoyed it. I've met a lot of people. So
I can tell. I can tell you definitely enjoy it. Just the way you just talk about it. That's great.
Yeah.
Before we even continue, I can't even believe I forgot about it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, but what jersey do I have on? Like what jersey?
I've just seen the top. I can't see the.
Yeah. Hey. Okay, I'm just gonna show you just the peak. Show too much.
Is that Baka or Roma? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's Roma.
It's Roma. Okay.
Okay, you pass. How about you? Do you have a jersey?
But you can't. Can you guess?
That's Sevilla.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
I like the way you just came in non-Premier League oriented, but we're probably going to talk a lot about the Premier League.
I know. La Liga just started, so I'm just hyped. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
it's the first game today.
Yesterday.
Tomorrow.
Yesterday. Sevilla Betis yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Sevilla beat 2-0. Sevilla beat Betis yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm guessing, is Seville your favorite team or?
Not really. It's the account I enjoy the most. I met the Seville team in the first ever trip to Africa in Tanzania. Wow. So I had it was a very memorable. I had like a lot of conversations with a lot of players, Navas, and the guy that moved to Monaco. What's his name? I forgot. The striker that moved to Monaco from Seville. Yeah, so I had a lot of conversations with them. I saw Canute, so like I had a lot of.
There's emotional attachment to that.
Exactly, jersey. So I became emotionally attached to them.
Okay. Do you try to keep up with Seville games now? Like,
yeah, I do.
You try.
I watch. I think every weekend I watch. Like I probably watch everything. Like even if I don't watch it, I make effort to go on YouTube to make sure I see all the goals and all the. So I basically follow them every weekend.
Oh, okay. So how's the La Liga? How's the La Liga table even looking like? How's that looking like right now?
Everybody has something to play for. That's something interesting in La Liga.
Okay, it's not like Premier League.
No, it's not as Premier League when the top is settled. Yeah, Barcelona, Real Madrid 2 points. Then Atletico Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, and everybody competing for the Champions League. I think it's about like 4 points or 3 points. Relegation. So everybody from 10 to 20th can also be relegated. So there's a lot to play for. Yeah.
No, I love, because I remember there was a time in the Premier League that was exactly like that. I think from 9th to 20th, towards the end of the season, you could still mathematically get relegated.
Yeah.
So it's all that drama. That's what makes us love sports, man.
Exactly.
And I wanted to use that to segue into my next question. Is let's talk about the elephant in the room, the coronavirus. The reason why leagues were postponed for months.
Yeah.
Something unprecedented before. Like in other sports, I don't know if it's ever happened in football before, but in other sports, you can have maybe a player league issue. You can have a disparity between terms of agreements and some form of contract between the player and the league. And some leagues would take time off while they negotiate terms of deals, and the league might start later. But we've never seen anything that
disrupted
and just disrupted the whole flow of every league everywhere. And we were without sports. And I've not read anything about this, but I'm pretty sure there's a psychological effect on a lot of people. Just waking up on a Saturday. I remember because like you can see my decoder right there. I would always, because I'm a Manchester United fan, I would always auto remember our matches so that even if I'm watching the STV, it's just gonna tune in. So not having that for a period of multiple months really affected. Yeah. Even till now, my Saturdays and Sundays have not been the same. They have not been the same at all. So I think a lot of people are also seeing now with the rhetoric of things going on, like why is it taking so long for them to start the leagues? Why do some leagues cancel? Why are some leagues still playing? And I think a lot of people are just realizing that football and sports is just like any other business.
True.
There are
True.
reasons other than the things that go on the field that actually impact whether or not the season is going to be restarted for multiple leagues. So I just wanted to ask you, what are the major reasons? It could be financial, whatever you feel. Football is just like any other business. What are the things you see in sports that highlight that? Okay, there's really no difference between football, Manchester United as a company, and maybe Apple, maybe Samsung. Like, what are the underlying factors that are similar to those two three companies?
It's basically the economic law of demand and supply, right? If there's no demand, there's nothing you can supply. There's nothing you can, you can deliver. You can deliver as a product. So that's what happened to sports during the coronavirus. Because it's all people driven. People have to be active. There has to be audience. There has to be a crowd in it. Players, footballers have to come together to play, to train. The people who clean the field, the commentators, the journalists, like everybody plays a part. And just because it's a virus that was very infectious, everything had to shut down. So like every other businesses, everything has to shut down because it involved people. So why football is coming back now? Why it's been successful so far? Because they've tried as much as possible to reduce the rate of people around the sports, right? Like in Bundesliga and the La Liga now, no journalists, even no reporters are allowed to come, right? So it's just the teams playing, and they are they are aggressively tested and on a daily basis to see who's going to test negative, so that they remove the person and isolate others, right? Although that has not happened, if that happens again, it's going to like disrupt the whole thing. Like if a player who has played in an active game tests negative, that means the other team has to go and do self-isolation for 14 days. So it's going to affect a lot of things, but that has not happened yet. So basically, what happened in football with coronavirus was that it's people driven, and because people are now allowed to come together again, it really shut down everything. It really affected everything. That's it. That's primarily the reason.
Yeah, and also, like you just made a great point there. I feel this, there's always some things, moral lessons that you can take from any situation. And I feel a lot of us who watch sports, we really didn't take into account that there's a whole lot of things and people behind the scenes that make it possible for Chelsea or Manchester United, Harry Maguire, David De Gea, Kante, to come onto the field on a Saturday. There's trainers, like you said, there's nutritionists, there's journalists, there's people that take care of the grounds,
field,
there's the mascot. There's so many other variables.
Ticketing, things like that,
There's so many other things involved that actually have to get settled as well. Because let's not forget, if there's no sports, there's no broadcasting. We are not going to get it. There's no
nothing.
There's no
adverts. There's no ad money. The auxiliary services around sports is so huge. Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to pay a lot of these people. A lot of these people will be out of work. And these are people, I don't know. I've seen a couple of documentaries. I saw the Manchester City documentary not too long ago, and they did a good job of highlighting those little, I don't even want to say little because I think it does them a disservice, but those roles that are just by the side that they don't have that much, star value attraction. Oh, okay, like the personal trainer of a football player. Do you know how much of an impact that person plays in making sure your favorite player is ready to play on a Saturday? Yeah. And if there's no Premier League, there's a cut in revenue, that is definitely going to affect his bottom line. That's going to affect his ability to take care of his family. And before I was like, why are they even starting the leagues again? Like, don't they care about player health? Don't they care about, these players are going out there, they have families to take care of, and, doing greater research. That's when you discover that, there's more to the story than,
there's more.
we're led to believe. So, yeah, for those of you watching, like Steve just said, highlighted, there's so many other things that play into watching a game on a Saturday. Like sports, there's so many other things. So, on to my next question. So how much does a team league sponsors have on the business of the Premier League, the Serie A, and what happens on the pitch? We see every time you watch a Premier League game, you always see adverts plastered everywhere. You see it on the jerseys, Nike, you see Coca-Cola, you see Cadbury. And doesn't it make you wonder, like, why am I seeing this all the time? Why is it every single place? Like, what impact is that do those companies have on the bottom line of a team or the league in general?
Okay, so In terms of sponsorship is just a part of how clubs generate revenue, right?
Okay.
Let me put it, let me just say, we can divide the revenue generating platforms into three. One is the commercial, like broadcast that you mentioned, and match day. So broadcast is TV, right? Which has been the main revenue generating stuff for football clubs. It has been the main in the last 15 years. It has been the main source of revenue for football clubs because sports is entertainment, right? So TV pay a lot of money for sports, and they pay it to the Premier League. The Premier League in turn distributes this money to the clubs, right? But according to the demand of who wants to watch them. So, for example, Arsenal and West Brom are not going to get the same TV revenue because a lot of people, Arsenal gets a lot of TV time more than revenue, more than West Brom. So that's that for commercial. That's that for broadcast. So they get a lot of. So, but in the last 5 years, what has happened is that a lot of clubs have made, serious efforts to increase their commerciality, right? Let me use that word. And that has helped them. So if you look at the last Deloitte 2020 list of richest, most valuable clubs, the top 20, these are clubs that these are the 20 biggest clubs, most popular clubs in the world. So the more popular you are, the more you get commercial, sponsors, commercial value.
So are you saying that the more higher up you are on the league table, the more successful you are, the more marketable, the more of the pie,
exactly that you get. True. So that's what the likes of Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, these big clubs. That's why they generate, because they are so big. They get lots of like sponsors from China, from Asia, even some from Africa. Arsenal has Rwanda, visit Rwanda on their sleeves, right? Things like that. That's what has differentiated the small clubs from the big clubs, apart from the broadcast money. So that's why you see every time there's always an increase between the gap between the small clubs and the big clubs, because they get more of the TV revenue. Because they get more of the TV revenue, they're more popular, so people know them more, and they have more fans all around the world. So companies all around the world come and sponsor them. So back to your question about sponsorship and the role they play. I think, like Barcelona became the number one club, become the number one on the Deloitte football list for the first time since the history of the list, because of their increase in commercial value, right? So clubs, companies in Asia and America, North America and South America, are pumping and bringing money to the club, to have a club, their name associated with the club. That's the sponsorship there. That's just the sponsorship there. So these clubs, companies come, can you put my name on your list, on your jersey? Can I buy stadium rights? These are some of the ways that clubs can be sponsored. You
see that with Leicester City.
Exactly. King Power Stadium, even the Emirates, things like that.
That's so true.
Exactly. So this is how big clubs have been able to make huge lots of money, just because they've been so big and they've been so popular. They attract sponsors. So the sponsors, in a way, don't really play any role in how the club is run. The club is the club, right? The sponsors don't make decisions on how the club should be run. No. When you come, you sign a contract. I want a shirt contract for 10 years. The only thing I demand from you as a club is to wear my company's name on your shirt. So it will be on in all your merchandise, in training merchandise, jerseys, filias, calendars, whatever, digital, everywhere. You are going to brand it with this. They also have kid sponsors like Puma, Adidas, right? Nike. So these companies, they don't really pay that money. They pay some, right? But the main value from the sponsorship are in the clothing. So we're going to provide you 50 million. So if the deal is like $50 million in like the next 5 years, that means maybe they'll give you like 20 million. It depends on the contract. Then the remaining 30 million will be in the clothing they're offering you, in terms of the jersey, the designing and things like that, the designing and the distribution of those jerseys. So these are how sponsors come, and pay football clubs. That's how football clubs get money from revenue from sponsors.
So this next thing I'm about to ask you is going to be pretty controversial. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit controversial. So with the whole COVID pandemic, we were just talking about sponsors now, and I was doing a little bit of research.
Yeah.
And it turns out, okay, like we discussed earlier, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes beyond player wages.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that have to eat from all the revenue the Premier League generates.
Sure.
So on doing some research, I found out that Premier League clubs were offered the ability to let go of some of their staff.
Yeah.
Just because of during this pandemic, a lot of people are not going to be maintain overhead costs. Like like now nobody's in the stands. You don't need that many stand employees. You don't need to clean up. You don't need that many people to mow the lawns. So they're like, oh yeah, you can definitely
follow staff.
Follow staff. And there were 3 clubs. Oh God, I hate 2 of the clubs in there, so I was so happy. I was so frustrated. So out of those 3 clubs, we had, you know what? I actually don't like any of the 3, if I'm honest. Newcastle, Tottenham, and Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah.
Yes. And this is where, for me, it gets really murky. Football is definitely a business. We're in a capitalistic economy. It's definitely a business.
Yeah.
You know, and 3 of them, they're only, according to after tax, there are only 8 profitable clubs in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And 3 of those clubs were in that profitable bracket. And 3 of those clubs have really, really rich owners. They have really, really rich owners. It's not like they have problems. Tottenham maybe because of the issue with their stadium. They're building a stadium. But Liverpool and Newcastle, they had the ability to take care of these lower end workers. Okay. They decided at first, Liverpool and Tottenham decided at first to let go of a lot of those staff.
Yeah. Which
for me is like, really? I can understand if Burnley, Aston Villa, no disrespect to those guys, no disrespect. But Liverpool and Tottenham, Newcastle, you guys could have done something a little bit better. And it goes back to ad revenue. That for me is a PR disaster. For me, it's a PR, because every other team, the other 17 teams, they made sure that I love what is Watford that has Troy Deeney, right? Troy Deeney. You know, he came out, took charge, took like great leadership, said that, okay, the players are going to take a wage cut. You know, you see the likes of Jordan Henderson too. Like personally, he did it, not the club, but he did it.
Yeah.
You know, to say he's going to take care of some people, Marcus Rashford, Harry Maguire. You see people doing things like, you know, a lot of people call it PR stunt, but in the end, they are taking care of these people. And for me, for 3 clubs out of 20 to just come out and say, oh, okay, they're not doing that, they're going to furlough staff. For me, I look at it as it's definitely going to take a hit in terms of sponsorship deals moving forward after Corona.
Okay.
Liverpool and Tottenham came out after they saw how bad the PR backlash was. And said, you know what, the hell, I'm going to take care of these guys. Yeah. So for you personally, I don't know if you're a fan of any of those 2 clubs. How do you look at that? How do you look at that? In the end, football is a business. You can argue both sides. It's a business. But at the same time, it really won't. Are you so concerned about your bottom line? Because sorry if I'm ranting. Sorry. You can see Manchester United. Manchester United, they're listed on the stock exchange. And they're owned by Americans. They are used to, America is such a PR-oriented
country.
Steve, were you announced? You can't talk. It's fine. You don't need to answer. But so Man United is listed on the stock exchange. They're owned by Americans. They are very PR savvy. Yeah. So they came out before other clubs. They made statements, "Oh, we're going to take care of this, blah blah blah." Because in the end, it might not pay off in the now, but in the future, people are going to remember that, okay, during Corona time, Man was taking care of their people. You get me? Everton was taking care of their people. I look at it and I'm like, Liverpool, I get you want your balance sheet to look squeaky clean. You want them, I get that. But for me, moving forward, if I'm a sponsor, if they put me as the head of Coca-Cola or something, and I have a chance to go into a deal with Liverpool, Tottenham, or Newcastle, I'm just going to be like, no, I'm not doing that. There's a human element to it and there's a business aspect. So for you, where do you fall under these 2? Sorry to put you on the spot, but
so it's fine. So listen, to make business decisions at that level, right? At the level those guys are playing at, it doesn't have to be personal or any human thing to it. Yeah, it's always business, right? So you're saying something about Liverpool and Tottenham coming to reverse decision after huge PR disaster, right? Why is it called PR? Because it's laundering of image, it's public relations. And when your image is good, you attract more money. So at the end of the day, they still made that decision because of business. right? So I can't even come out and say Liverpool make that decision, or the clubs who didn't, say, okay, we're laying off staff, they're doing it because, they're more, they're more morally upright or something. Maybe
true.
they initially calculate the risks and said, okay, you know what? If we don't do it, with PRO, we can get better sponsors and better commercial value, right? That's also a business decision if you look at it in a way.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Exactly. So I tie everything to business. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, it's so interesting how we all just not. But now I haven't done that much research before this week, like deep diving into the world of sports. But you see it so much. There's so many things that cut across industries and companies, regardless of how much you might think. Okay, because you're seeing Pogba, you're seeing De Bruyne on the field. Let's say you can go to you're meeting them, shaking their hands.
Yeah.
There's just so much. But that's a brand. He's a player.
I used to have a hot take, right?
Let's hear it. Love hot take.
There's so much involved in football, right? There's so much money, bro, that I don't think it's organic. Like organic in terms of who wins and who loses. I don't think it's just left to what happens on the pitch. I feel this is just like there's no facts to back this up. I'm just thinking about it. There's so much at stake. Yeah, there's so much at stake. There's so many money. Like there's so much money at stake. You get. Let me explain it like this: if Leicester City and Atletico Madrid plays a UEFA Champions League final, UEFA loses because even when it's the UEFA Champions League, even when it's the UEFA Champions League final, it's not going to get enough coverage like a Liverpool Madrid,
Liverpool,
right? So with that at stake, do you think UEFA will leave everything on the pitch?
First of all, I'm a Man U fan.
Yeah.
And you just said Leicester and Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
And we need a DM. I need to see that matchup between Dede and Partey.
And Dede and Partey, right? It's fire.
I'll operate for them. Me personally, I need to see that one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, it's fire.
Watching this, we need that matchup. But I definitely get what you mean, though.
Yeah. That's just a personal feeling. Yeah, marketability and everything.
There are not that many big name stars on it.
True.
Okay, that's an interesting take. For sure, we can actually talk about it. But let me move on to my next question. So, from a business perspective, okay, Sean has just called you out to be an Arsenal fan. I don't know how.
Yeah, I am actually. Just that I like to troll Arsenal though because I'm tired.
I love that. You can't really be taking these things too serious. You have to be able to make fun of.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. That's what I do.
Yeah. So, if you could be on the board of any football team besides Arsenal, from a business perspective, what team let's even make it general. What team would you pick and why? If you be a board member on any team.
I've been loving Liverpool's business, the way they've run business for the last 5 years. I've loved it. They've been very deliberate. Yeah, man, Man U fan. I'm sorry, bro. They've been very, very, very meticulous. They've been patient and very, very, how do I put it, deliberate. I've said it before. So they know where they were going for. In terms, look at the player purchases and everything that's happened in the last 5 years. They've not bought. Apart from the goalkeeper and Van Dijk, they didn't spend excessively on those players.
That's
right?
True. That's true.
Exactly. And guess where the money for Van Dijk and the goalkeeper came from? Came from Coutinho. So the way they ran everything, the way they've done it, the way they've scouted the kind of young players coming in, the way they've just carried the club, I definitely envy Liverpool.
For sure. I hate to say it, and
it's annoying too. I know. It's
annoying. It's so annoying.
It's annoying.
It's one of those things where, let's just say you God, I'm about to be petty, but you're in an estate and you're building this huge, amazing house. Like you've done pillars, you have a swimming pool in the backyard, and everyone that drives by your estate always points to the other house at the other end of the street. That's 10 times less the money you spend.
They spend exactly
100 times better.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, and I definitely agree with that. And do you feel it's a top-down thing, or do you think it starts on the pitch, or do you think it starts at the top, management? And
I think it's a top-down thing. It starts from the management because the management will it's the management who are going to get a coach who aligns with their with their vision, things like that. So it's good from the management. I think Henry runs that club well, and I'm like I envy it.
Yeah, I definitely think so too, because when you look at it, before Jurgen Klopp came in, I think it was what's his name, Brendan Rodgers.
It was Rodgers too. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Rodgers was always on the brink, but he couldn't just that extra nudge with his players, with crucial times during the season.
And you should remember that when the team that Rodgers built, right, to almost win the Premier League was a team with Suarez. Right? How did they get Suarez? They sold Torres.
Business decisions, all
business decision.
Great.
They brought in Suarez. So they've been building. The only thing they've lacked for a while was that coach, and they got Klopp, and it's been clicking since.
Wow. How long have we been on? It's been like 30 minutes, and you're making me like Liverpool. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this today. We're not doing, because I definitely appreciate that from a financial aspect.
Exactly.
Sure that you identify a replacement that's cheaper. And that's the whole premise of the stock market. Buying stuff.
Thank you.
Every single Liverpool player that starts right now is definitely more valuable than when they bought him. All their players are way more valuable than when they bought him. And that is a great business model, including the club itself is probably more valuable.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I guess the argument for Liverpool is financial, because in terms of Premier League titles, they are nowhere. I'm waiting to drop that joke all day. So I've gotten that out of my system. Let's move on. So next question. Okay, so of the 20 Premier League teams, only 5 of them have some form of American ownership. That's the Glazer family at Manchester United. That's John Henry, like you said, at Liverpool. That's Zahid Khan at Fulham, the owner of Crystal Palace, and your guy himself, Stan Kroenke.
Okay. Yeah.
What
I think it's 4 now, because Fulham is no longer in the Premier League. So I think it's 4.
Okay. Oh, yeah. 4. So it's 4. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling me out on that.
Yeah.
No, I don't concern myself with the bottom part of the league.
Yeah. It's fine. Nobody cares.
I hope there's no Fulham fans watching this, but don't do that, obviously. So in a league that turns over that much revenue, that has that much global reach, you would think the biggest economy in the world would want to invest more in that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So why do we just have 4 clubs that have some form of ownership? What do you think the reason is? What do you think it's like a cultural thing where Americans don't really even appreciate soccer? Like, what do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's just the American thing. They're not really big on football, but the few who have seen the opportunity, I think they are the ones who have struck. For this 4, apart from this 4, I think we have we have other like 6 clubs who are foreign owned. So I don't think
yes, we do. Especially by the Emiratis,
Exactly, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, now Newcastle is coming on board, things like that. So I feel it's just the American thing. Americans are really not huge on football, but the few who've had the opportunity to do it, I think they've taken the opportunity, and I think the successes of these people that you just mentioned, I think a lot more will be coming in from America, but I don't think they can compete with the oil money. Who are trying to come and own these things and own. And to football, owning a football club helps with your PR, your image too. So I think that's why this Saudi
cheap publicity.
Exactly. That's why these Saudi guys and these oil guys are coming in. That's why they want to take this club.
That's very interesting. That's interesting that you pointed out. That's true.
True.
And I also doing some research for this, we realized that Sky Sports is in fact owned by an
American company. Yeah, I think I think the Sky Sports thing happened with it just happened by chance, because they were investing in the media, right?
Media, yes.
And the media the media was just there and needed to broadcast sports. So Sky Sports took on sports. So so it's Sky News. It's Sky News actually. So Sky News is like the umbrella company. They own Sky Sports. They own some other companies. So I think it's just by chance. Sky Sports is also big on rugby and other things. So I think it's just investment in media, not necessarily investment in sports. Yeah.
Okay, I get that. Yeah. So, that's interesting. speaking of broadcasters like Sky, I just want to use that to segue and transition into the Nigerian Premier League itself. It turns out we do not really have a heavyweight supporter and sponsor in the realms of the Sky level. Yeah. I know we have companies here and there that do that, but no one really pushing that Nigerian Premier League agenda with as much vigor, with as much commitment, with as much investments in Nigeria. How important do you feel it is for the Premier League to have a Sky, for the Premier League to have a Barclays, for them to have an NBC? And when you compare that to Nigeria in the media terms, it's not like, there's the channels, Nigerian Premier League, the AIT one. I don't even get it, because in terms of just pumping out raw talent, just ability, pure, I can go on and on about the quality of players that we have here. Just even in terms of, look at Gallo, look at what's his name, Dede. You have the boy at Lille. I can't remember his name off the top of my head now.
Osimhen. Victor Osimhen.
You have, there's so much talent here. And I look at sports as, granted, we don't have that much infrastructure, but if there's one thing we are sure, that's a sure bet for us in terms of talent is there. The talent is there. So why? What's the issue? What do you feel the underlying issue is with just I don't want to put it on any media, but Nigeria as a whole with regards to the way we take sports and football especially?
To start with, I want to say that's the biggest thing that's wrong with our football, that there's no sponsor, there's no league sponsor. Because if you want to sell anything and is not in the media, you can't convince anybody. So if Enyimba wants to attract sponsors right now and say, you know what, please come on, this is Enyimba. They ask you how many eyeballs do you have, right? And without a TV sponsor, without an official broadcaster, you don't have any eye, right? So that you have nothing to sell. So an Arsenal can come and tell you that, over 15 million people watch us every weekend. So you have to come and put your name on our shirts. Exactly. You have to put your name on our shirts. This is how much it costs. The company can say, fine. Without an official broadcaster in the league, you don't have an official number to say, this is how many people that are watching us every match day. So so he eliminates two things. He eliminates the money from TV, and he eliminates sponsors' money, right? So there's a lot of issue though about the NPF, the Nigerian local football. Let me just summarize it. One is government. So almost all the clubs are government owned.
Wow.
Right. So there are 20 clubs. There are 20 EPL clubs, NPFL clubs. I think so. 18 are government owned. Only 2 are private owned. So that alone is a problem. When you leave, so our football is still under government. There's not been a lot of private investments in.
Is there any reasons for that? What's that? That's interesting.
So the reason for that is just because football is not a good investment in Nigeria. There's no structure for it to be a revenue generating.
Infrastructure is not there a lot.
So we have in football, sports in Nigeria have just been from the active perspective. We've not been able to commercialize it.
Yes.
So once you've not been able to commercialize something, it will be hard for you to get private investment, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's a reason Dangote is always talking about going to buy Arsenal and does not have a football club in Nigeria, because no club in Nigeria will make money for him. Yeah, so those things have not been put in place, right? For TV, something like a TV, right? Because why would I buy a club that nobody watches? Why would I go now? Why would I go now as an individual and say, I want to buy Enyimba? I have nothing to gain. Enyimba is not even on TV, right? So it's a complex issue though. But I want to break it down. One, government. Is anything that's controlled by governments, we all know, we have a history in Nigeria, it doesn't go far. So that's that. And 2, over time, Nigerians have lost interest in what's happening in Nigeria, in Nigerian football. If it's not European football, the Nigerians don't care. So, and that's just the 2 main reasons. The 2 main reasons, government and no attention is being paid to Nigerian football.
Yeah, because my dad, he always told me that growing up, a local football, even the Premier League, wasn't really,
bro.
Yeah, an eye grabber in Nigeria.
Should I explain something to you? So the local football was so big in the 90s, so big in the 80s and 90s. Then 1994 happened. 1994 was when the Super Eagles won African Cup of Nations, like the golden generation of Nigerian players.
Yeah, it should
and
go
went,
up from there, right?
So no. So what happened was that those players, every of those, so Nigerians became so in love with Nigerian players. Then when the Nigerian players moved abroad,
they took that love with them.
They followed them.
Okay.
Are you getting me? So in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 80s, the best Nigerian players used to play in Nigeria.
That's true.
They were not big on foreign football, right? But when they discovered that, when Keshi was one of the first, he went to Belgium and it was established that, it's better there, better paid, better eyeballs and everything. So after 94, Nigerians fell in love with that 94 squad. And when after the tournaments finished, I'm like, where do these guys play? This guy's playing in Germany. This guy's playing, and the eyeballs followed them. Since then, it has never been the same for the local league. So the success of the national team, right? The success of the national team contributed to the fall of our local football. Wow. Let me give you an example. South Africa's local football is so big.
Yes.
Right? But look at their national team.
It's true.
Yeah, so the local players, the local league in South Africa has enough commerciality and enough value to hold on to their best players, right? So those best players don't get to go abroad and play for the best clubs and get get better developed in terms of tactics, in terms of how to play football. That's why the national team is still this way, right?
But which one would you rather have, though? Like, that's tough. That's tough
because I would just put the generic word and say there should be a balance, but it's tough. How do I get that balance? Because Nigerian players also need to travel abroad,
and get that exposure.
Because I want to see them, like, what watching Igalo has done for me, like sitting down in my house and watching Ojo Igalo, someone who grew up in Ajegule, playing for Manchester United. You know how inspiring that is.
It is inspiring.
Exactly. So I can't say just because I want the local league to be very, very dope for there not to be an Igalo. Yeah. You understand? So I don't know.
Someone just made a good point.
Yeah.
Someone just made a good point. Said,
how is Egypt doing it? All right. Yeah. Okay. So we keep talking about Egypt. When was the last time, Egypt came on the national scene? And Egypt came to
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Right now, who's the biggest African player?
Salah, Mane, take your pick.
Salah, where does Salah play? If Salah is playing in El Ali, he won't be as big as Salah, right? So Egypt is doing it in terms of you also have to understand that their standard is also high. They also have a standard that can. It's not as if it's on at the level of European clubs, but it's close, right?
Yes, sir.
So Egypt can still come and dominate Africa in a way and win Nations Cups and win those things, right? But you see how they do in the World Cup. They don't do anything. They flop in the World Cup, right? So Egypt is a very weird example because you might say they won the 4 Nations Cup at that time, but the time they won it wasn't when there was a lot of problems with African football then in terms of like African teams, Cameroon wasn't that settled. They won Cameroon. Nigeria wasn't that settled.
I think there was a lot of political unrest too in West Africa and stuff like that.
A lot of things happening too, So I understand why people would think Egypt is a very fantastic example, but it's not, in terms of... Can I ask you? Morocco used to be a good example of, they do it. But now all Moroccan players, look at the last World Cup, all of them came from European countries, to play. So it's really hard to strike that balance. Okay, Egypt has done it in a way, but it's getting more difficult, as players aspire to play in better leagues because they pay better money.
Let me put it this way. Is that just an African thing? Is that the African effect? Because if you look at Brazil, if you look at some other little countries, and look at Belgium, the rise of Belgian football. Yeah. When I was a kid, Belgium, I don't think I knew any Belgian player. But now, in terms of just global rankings and just ability, they have turned out one of the greatest, like in such a short period of time, they've churned out so much talent. Look at Brazil doesn't really have but in relative to African leagues, like the Brazilian league is very, very commercial. Like
that's what I'm saying. It's very exactly. They've been able to
Africa that we have this problem.
So we have that problem in Africa. It's just Africa. So the thing is, Europe. We have to admit, Europe is the center of football because the best Brazilian players play in Europe. So, but why Brazil is different from Nigeria is that Brazil has been able to commercialize their league, right? In that sense also, let me tell you, in 2018, the sales of players from Brazilian league to European league contributed to 8% of the Brazilian GDP. Do you know how much money
8%.
you have to make to contribute 8% of a national GDP?
Wow.
You understand? Just imagine, do you know how much Neymar was bought from Barcelona, from Santos?
Did they disclose it fully? I can't remember.
A lot of money, over 60 or 70 or so, 50
from
something.
Santos.
Or so. From Santos. Just imagine a
I'm sure
Nigerian
Santos
club.
can't even make that.
I'm telling you, just imagine. If a Nigerian club sells, if in one Nigerian club sells a player for £1 million, right?
Yeah.
They're good for the next 10 years.
But why doesn't that happen more? Why?
Because we've not been able to come to the structure is not there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
we're not selling our product well.
We're not selling our product. First thing first, government own these clubs, right? These clubs don't even sign players on contract.
Oh wow.
So these players you see playing for the MPFL, they don't have the contract. So they can wake up one morning and go for a try in Belgium. If a club signs them, they just go there and play football. The original club is not getting the money.
Why? Wow.
It's expensive because you know why they don't give them contracts. It's expensive to hold people on contracts because if you want to sack them, you have to pay them. Exactly. So it's a whole different conversation, you know. So Nigerian football is a lot, right? We just have to sit down and just plan but as far as government is still involved, nobody is trying that. Nobody is even bothering to do that.
Okay. Wow. That's a conversation for another day because I have so much to ask.
We can't unpack it. Yeah.
So one little talk thing about the winners of football starting seems to be sports betting companies.
Yeah.
And, I'm even going to just make this personal. A couple of years, it's so interesting to see how things like sports betting, how crazes like sports betting catch on so fast.
Yeah.
Because a couple of years ago, maybe in 2010, was it that commercial? Was it that big? Was it that mainstream? Like, were people really betting like that? When did they realize that, oh wow, we can actually make a lot of money? Like the first Bet Nigeria, when they started sponsoring events, like, it happened so quick and so fast. If you blinked, you missed it. And even in the States too, even in the States too, we're seeing it as well. There's this one sports betting company called DraftKings.
Yeah.
And they just recently launched their IPOs, and the way their stock is performing, like, granted, the whole market seems to be bouncing up, but them especially, their returns and just the way they've captured the market. Like, betting has just become, has it always been that way, where betting was always a part of sports?
So betting,
or like now, is it just more, mainstream?
So betting has always been big in Europe. It's
Okay.
always been a thing in America too, and Europe. America in basketball and other sports, in Europe in football, it has always been very, very big, right? I was even researching when I got some questions yesterday or the day before. I was researching this thing. It has always been big. So the problem in Nigeria was when the problem in Nigeria, betting in Nigeria in sports has always been here also, and has always been big. Do you guys know what they call pool? That thing where we used to call it coupon while I was growing up. We call it coupon, right? So where you see it's always with old men. They come and read these things. You see them draw some boards, right?
Is it those lines like tables?
Yeah, the tables and they draw draws and they predict draws.
I've seen it around.
Yeah, so if you have like 3 draws, you win a couple of money. I've known that thing since I was born, right? Wow. I used to see men studying. They used to study the history of like betting. They know how to like deduce these games. Yeah,
it's all statistics.
It's all statistics, exactly. That's why I tell you that it's hard for me to believe that sports is just organic. Because while I was studying pool growing up, because I was so intrigued, like, how do people do this, right? I understood that, so if Arsenal is playing in October, they're playing Crystal Palace. So these guys who deduce this game, they go and check the history of all Arsenal versus Aston Villa games, right? That they play in November. And they notice that these games always end up in a draw. Then they'll tell you, this one is ending in a draw. And that one happens to end in a draw. Right? So there's these patterns they used to like do these things. So predict.
More accuracy.
Yeah, but electronic betting became popular in 2000 and let me say 15.
2015.
Yeah,
that's so recent.
Yeah,
But
it's
we
so
have so many
recent.
betting companies now. It's all over the place.
Exactly. So because a company came, Bet Nigeria was here and was successful. So Naira Bets, everybody now sports, it's business. Once there's a model, is a successful model, everybody comes and hop on it, and that's what happened with betting. It has always been big with that model of betting that I knew growing up. I've always known it. It was popular when I was growing up, and when I even came to Lagos, I was asking people, "Do you guys know?" They say, "Yeah, it's for old men," because at that time football wasn't also too popular, right? Especially European football. So as the spread of European football continued, so also betting continued. So now people now do it hand in hand. That's just how it is.
Do you think that betting is just getting started? Because in the end, it's just 5 years, and they're
Yeah.
so big.
We're just getting started. There's still every year betting companies still come. We still have betting startups in Nigeria. People just getting started. Right now, I think in my head I can count up to 10 betting companies, and I don't even think that's enough. Right? It can be up to 15 because we have the numbers, we have people, we have the market. So we're just getting started. Because you remember, every year people are becoming more interested in football, and the economy is getting worse. So betting and alcohol companies work in struggling economies, right? So as far as life is hard in Nigeria, people want that fast money and people want to bet. So it's fine.
That's true. It's so interesting to think, because I would imagine, wouldn't that at some point be detrimental to the quality? Because I can think of one issue off the top of my head. So in the early 2000s in the NBA in basketball, there were some referees that were placing bets on the outcome of the game while they were reffing those same games. And it just makes me wonder, like, how many, it's all conspiracy, but doesn't that impact the quality of like product that we see on the field? Like, if I'm a player and I place a bet, am I really that motivated to play, knowing that like I can throw this game?
You are not allowed to, Sha. That's why these things are heavily tracked. And Aguero can place a bet. Even if he's in for another team, he can't do that. Like footballer, if you are active owners, things like that, you can't do that. So they try as much as possible to check them. But I still think they might do it. That's why it goes back to what I told you before, that I don't think football is just left for what happens on the pitch. I just feel there's some manipulation. Me personally, that's what I'm saying.
So out of all the leagues that are starting again, like which one are you most excited to see come back?
Obviously.
Obvious.
It's the Premier League. I enjoy La Liga a lot. But the thing is that when we're watching La Liga, nobody converses with us about it on Twitter. So when the banter is really happening on Twitter, is the Premier League, right? It's the Premier. So it's the Premier League for me. Although I enjoy La Liga a lot. Yesterday I was really hyped. I was so happy when La Liga came back. But Premier League is what all of us argue about. That's what brings all of us together. So it's Premier League.
And it's so interesting to look at, because I'm personally I'm an optimistic person when it just comes to Nigeria Nigeria in general, and with our sports. Because when you look at it, if you look at the 80s, the 70s, the English Premier League wasn't really that big. Yeah. But now England does so much with marketing their league and their players that Harry Maguire can go for £80 million.
Thank you.
They're like Jadon Sancho, as great as he is, 100 million plus. Like their talent is, everyone knows they are overhyped. I don't use that word, but they still pay. There's a lot of money in England right now, and I just look at it like, can we ever get to that level where it's like, you know what? We have the talent, but just to put a little bit more marketing there. Maybe the sports betting companies can, buy a few clubs here and there, because I'm guessing they're money. Like increase the value of the league a little bit. Pump that money back into the people that you're collecting money from. But you're talking
about Nigeria.
Yes, Nigeria. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I said, as far as government still controls like a large part of it, I don't think we'll make any headway. Yeah, that's primarily the reasons. If government can sell off all the assets, all their club assets, it will go a long way in making football. Because if I own a football team, I will make sure that it makes money. But because if it's government, they have oil money now, so they don't care. Yeah.
So, quick fire round. Okay. So, Nike, Adidas, or Under Armour? which apparel line makes the best jerseys for you personally?
Man,
I know you have the Bills jersey on, so that's Nike.
I always pick Nike because of what they did with Super Eagles.
Oh,
yeah, man. Yeah,
that took so much, and the national, the global recognition we got for that jersey. Why couldn't we market it more? Do more.
Yeah,
with that. Culture is so marketable.
That did so well for us. Like he transcended football. He went into pop culture. Like Nigeria became this brand that everybody. So for that alone, Nike. They forever have my heart for that because it was such a huge seeing Giannis Adetokounmpo rocking a jersey, Ludacris rocking a Nigerian jersey.
Wow,
I really love that.
Yeah, that would go down in history as probably probably the best Nigerian jersey.
The best Nigerian jersey.
All time.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Okay, so to place a bet on a game or to invest in a sports betting company. The answer is on your screen, just like that.
Yeah, it's to invest because betting to me is a gamble.
It
right?
is.
So, but if you invest in a betting company, you're sure of making money. Yeah. So that's for me.
The way I even look at it is, just depending on how often and how frequently. I don't really bet, so I don't know how, but I know a couple of people that do.
Yeah.
Emotionally, it is just because it is just a whirlwind. It is so addicting. It is so.
Yeah, it's very addicting. Yeah, it's very addicting. Yeah, it's very addictive. And I as a person, like I'm scared of addiction. Like. The way I live my life, I want to live my life in such a way that I'm not addicted to anything, right? So that I'll have control over myself, So that's why I've kind of like stayed away from it. I've done it, like I do it. I'll probably still do, but it's not something that like I can't do.
It takes control of your life.
I don't care. Yeah.
Okay, so more football related questions. Serie A or La Liga? What league has the better overall talent right now? So if you're supposed to do an 11-on-11 of Serie A players and La Liga players, who would win for you? And you know what? Let me actually hear your teams. Let me hear your teams. Let me hear your teams.
I like Zidane is my favorite player ever.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, ever. Like ever. Yeah. Like my favorite player, but I won't tell you that he's the greatest of all time.
Okay.
Greatest of all time is the best football talent ever I've seen is Lionel Messi. But my favorite is Zidane. I love the way he played football. Yeah. So now he's the coach of Real Madrid. So Real Madrid is my team. Yeah. Inter is my team in Serie A. Yeah. Yeah. So for Serie A and La Liga has better players. Serie A has better coaching. That's the way I look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of like tactics, coaches who read games, coaches who influence games is Serie A. But players are more. La Liga is ridiculous. La Liga is ridiculous, bro. I'm telling you. The talent there is mad. Yeah.
But okay, let me see. Forza Inter.
Okay. Forza Inter.
Your best player is Zidane, right? Who in the modern game now do you feel, just in terms of impact? I don't want to say style, but just the impact and the value they bring to a midfield or a team. It can be a team in general. Who do you feel has that Zidane-like quality, that ability? Would you look at and be like, okay, now?
I think it should be Kevin De Bruyne. It's KDB. Like he's so influential. Like he carries his team. You can see that he's the main man in midfield. Like so I feel he's the one.
You wouldn't say Pogba. You wouldn't say.
No. KDB has done way much more than Pogba. Pogba has the ability to do it, but he has not done it in the Premier League so far.
What do you think? What do you think is holding him back? What do you think is?
It's just the team is not good enough. If you put Pogba in Man City, he'll probably do more than KDB because he's a ridiculous talent now. Like he has everything. He has the strength. He has the footwork. He has everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In terms
it's just
of
the team.
I also hear this argument being used by a lot of pundits I respect. And it's, like you said, ability, you can blame the team, but a lot of people complain that, football is half, like, physical, but that other half is mental. And they say Manchester United has a solid enough team for him to compete for the league, but
I don't think so. I don't think so. Just watch with Fernandes in midfield. Like you need better players. It's simple. Like watching with Fernandes in midfield, right? You see the difference. Yeah, you see the difference. And look at he has had good moments now. Look at the season they finished. Manchester United finished second. Like Pogba was good that season. Now, the first season that you guys won the Europa League, he was good. Like you're right. He became poor when the team became poor under the third season of Mourinho and when Solskjaer came. Look at Solskjaer's son when Solskjaer first came. Pogba was mad that period, that run. So when the team is doing well, probably he's with better players, he will be fine.
Yeah, just like the World Cup. Like, don't you agree?
Fantastic, exactly. Look at that. If you watch that France-Argentina game, it was Pogba. Like if you watch it critically well, like the passes he gave to Mbappe, like everything, it was Pogba. So better teams, better performance. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so next question. Who is the greatest player ever, in your opinion, to wear the Nigerian Eagles jersey?
Okay, so the greatest ever question. People confuse this for the best or the most talented.
Yes,
The way I rate greatest is in terms of achievements, trophies. Yeah, me personally. So
if you take off the field impact, do you include off the field? Like
of course. When everything adds into the commercial value, everything adds in terms of me. So mine is Mikel and Kanu. Mikel and Kanu Wanko. But if you want to talk about the best or like most talented, then you start talking about Gigi Okocha, things like that. But in terms of like greatness, achievements, things they did with the Super Eagles, mine is Mikel. But if I don't want to be controversial, I'll just say Kanu Wanko.
Yeah, Kanu did.
Yeah, Kanu did great.
He did a lot. Usually off the field, I know with his hard foundation, all of that. Like he
But mine is Mikel though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone asks, has any betting company gone public? Yes, there's one on the Bamboo app. It's called DraftKings.
Okay.
So if you go to the Bamboo app, just type in DKNG.
Is there Shegun Odebami? I didn't watch him. I just read about him. I can't mention him because I never watched him.
What position did he play?
He was a 10, mathematical Odebami. He was a 10, so he was really good.
Yeah. DKNG, yes, that's correct. Draft.
Is there any Nigerian company on Bamboo?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
We don't even have Nigerian stocks yet. We're just finalizing that. So we'll be having those really soon. We'll announce it months before, like we plan on doing that. So expect that coming in soon. So what football-related stocks are you considering if you were to invest a good one right now? Would you invest in the broadcasting aspect? Would you invest like Comcast, Disney that owns ESPN? Would you invest in Amazon? Would you invest in the jerseys? Would you invest in Manchester United? Or DraftKings? Which one? If you could pick one. If I give you $1,000 right now to invest in one.
I'll probably take, because for Amazon is going to start broadcasting the Premier League from 2020.
Oh, okay.
Wow. And that's going to be huge. Yeah.
That's huge.
From 2020, 2020-21 season. Yeah. And that's going to be huge. They've already signed the deal. They've already announced the deal with Amazon and Premier League. I feel that's going to be a game changer for streaming of the Premier League.
Yes, it will be.
And it's Amazon, so yeah.
I have Amazon Prime, and the documentary they have on Man City was one of the best.
I remember watching it now. The Premier League mini season of 2018. I remember now. It was fantastic. Yeah.
It was amazing. So, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me that.
So once they add those things to like the Premier League, it's going to be huge.
And we're seeing sports, soccer and football in the States getting bigger and bigger.
Getting bigger, exactly.
That's why all these companies are coming in now and they're and buying up. Because America is a big market for sports, and we see like
huge markets.
The whole Pulisic thing is underestimated, but Pulisic is big in the States.
In the States,
big.
True.
He's very, very big in the States.
True.
So, So drop 2 odds for your boys.
You don't even play bet, so don't worry.
No. No. Today I want to start.
Nah,
I want to start. I'm a rookie. I'm coming. Like you're an expert. I'm coming to you now. Okay?
I'm not really an expert. Like the why I got interested in it was because I wanted to understand the mechanism behind betting and all that. You know.
Okay.
So I'm like I said before, I'm not very big on it.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you're still gonna drop the odds though. I don't know
Sure.
Oh my god. Yeah, thanks a lot, Steve. Like
No
I really
problem,
had fun
man.
with this conversation.
I enjoyed
I
this.
learned a lot from you. I learned a lot, especially like you've been. I don't know whether it's your really calm and analytical nature that just made me look at Liverpool from a different. I'm gonna go to bed thinking, wow, Liverpool. Wow, definitely more appreciation for it, and I definitely would love to have you at some other point in the future. Maybe when the league ends, maybe by some freak act of God, Liverpool doesn't win the league and Man City comes back.
I'll pray. I pray for that, but I know it's not happening.
Yeah, but thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, so you guys do this every Friday?
Yes, every Friday. Yeah,
so
every Friday.
So after what are the likely topics? So after football, what is going to be next week? Like about investments
investments. Yes, we're going to try.
Okay, about the business side of everything.
Business side of everything. Exactly.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it is. We try.
Okay, no problem. I'll follow you guys on Twitter so that once in a while I'll join in the conversation.
Like you saw the way we did today, the whole model. And how that, a lot of these things fundamentally are the same. In business, there's a lot that translates from one industry to the other. There's no information that's lost. There's no information that's irrelevant. You can take lessons from every single industry. And that's what we're trying to extract from these conversations we have with people. So, thanks so much for helping us out today.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Check Steve out. Follow him on Twitter. You can just go to the Invest Bamboo page. You see, we've added him so much this past week. So just go and check the pages. And thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, bro.
Bye, Steve.
All right, bye.